There is sometimes one of the numbers they quote around 800 or 900 was when there was a special dividend from Southern Hydro, so that's been a little bit at the higher end, but don't forget we already retain at least 51% because not all of that money is going because we retain the majority control, and we're only applying the mixed ownership model to 4 SOEs, so there's a bigger portfolio there. So we might be able to, for instance, have a couple of $100 million from dividends, to a 300 million, but that would be a long way off what we're going to potentially get in terms of 7 billion.
Was 802 million from those 4 SOEs plus the New Zealand Limited?
Yeah, well don't forget though, we retain at least 51% control. So that means at best we could probably get out 350 in a normalised year. We're talking about putting 1.4 billion in a year.
How are you going to manage this fund? I mean, is it a specific fund that is invested in a certain place with guardians gaining interest, or how does it work?
Oh no, look, it's like a bit like the recovery fund. It's a way of ensuring there's transparency and accountability for the cash. So technically, in the budget, we don't have any capital allowances, 0 capital allowances. So this is a way of saying, right, there's the capital that's coming in from the proceeds of the mixed ownership model, and it's going to be allocated transparently to the kind of projects.
But
it
doesn't actually exist though, and it doesn't actually exist as a separate fund like the super fund, for example.
No, we're not setting up an actual investment fund because we don't need to. What we do need to do though is get transparency around and accountability around what happens with the proceeds of mixed ownership.
You're just putting a ring around a figure and calling it, giving it a name.
Well, no, it's real. We're talking about real cash here. I mean, if we get the opportunity to do the mixed ownership model, we will get, in a $1 billion float, we'll get $1 billion cash in, and that is going to be like the Canterbury Recovery Fund. It's sort of got its own account, and then we make sure there's transparency about where it goes.
So how's the cash? It's largely political, isn't it? Because you'll still be borrowing for your capital expenditure through that period. It's simply that you'll be borrowing less because you'll have money coming in from the sales of those part shares.
Well, we'll certainly be borrowing. Yeah, we'll certainly be borrowing less, and that's a real impact of the mixed ownership model. The Labor Party would have to say where they will get the cash to build their schools because it's not in the budget. They will have not in the budget that we've left there, so they'd have to go out and borrow. So it has quite a real effect in the sense of avoiding borrowing first, and then secondly it creates much more transparency, which actually we've been trying to achieve around the way that capital is used, and we think the public needs that reassurance of knowing that proceeds from those sales are put to a specific purpose, and that's quite transparent.
So this isn't a fund like the super fund or the ACC fund. Is it just cash you're going to hold at Treasury or Reserve Bank, or are you going to actually invest it like the super and ACC funds?
No, it won't be an actual investment fund. In fact, because we're doing capital investment at the same time as we would be doing a mixed ownership model. We just comes in and goes out.
So it's not really a fund.
Yes, it is a fund in the same way as the Canterbury Recovery Fund is a fund.
But it's there with all the other tax.
What's that?
It's there with all the other government funding sitting in the vaults.
But it's in its own fund, so the money flows in from the mixed ownership model, and as there's a call on the fund for the various assets that we want to acquire, money goes out of the fund. There'll be mismatches, and that money will be invested in bonds as it would be over time.
So is this as much about allaying voter concerns about asset sales and saying, look, the money raised, here it goes, as much as the practical implications of it?
No, it's the argument we've been making the whole way through, which is we want to grow the Crown balance sheet. The argument that's put up by Labor, there'll be less assets as a result of the mixed ownership model, is not correct. There will be more assets as a result of the mixed ownership model. Over the course of the next 5 years, we want to acquire about $35 billion worth of assets. So it won't be less, there'll be more. What we're doing is funding that through this mechanism.